Welcome to this edition of Taking Care of Business. I'm Mary Beth Sewald, President and CEO of the Vegas Chamber. The 2025 session of the Nevada State Legislature is underway now. There are many issues during this session that potentially could impact employers, employees, and jobs. So I'm pleased today to have with us the Vegas Chamber's Senior Vice President of Government Affairs, Mr. Paul Moradkhan. Paul, thanks for joining us today.
Of course, Mary Beth, appreciate the opportunity.
Well, Paul, I know you're in Carson City. Uh, Talk to us a little bit about this. As the leading business association in Nevada, how does the Vegas Chamber stand up for small businesses and employers during the legislative session?
Of course, and I think that's a great way of opening up the conversation, Mary Beth. As you know, and as our CEO of the Chamber and so forth, the Chamber represents 70 different sectors of the economy within the membership. And of course, a large component of that is our small business members. So when the Chamber is reviewing all the bills and the bill draft requests, we also take a moment and step back and see how does this impact small business as well. So part of our legislative strategy is to ensure that no harm is done to small business. If there's opportunities for them to engage in economic development initiatives or incentives, we also look at it from that perspective as well. But from our small business members, we know they want to be involved with education policy. They have concerns, of course, about licensing. If there's any changes from the Secretary of State's office, are there going to be any regulations from a governing board they may interact with? So we take that lens every single time we look at a bill and say how this impacts small business. If it doesn't, great. If it does, we'll work on the issue to ensure that we can mitigate any concerns. The Nevada legislators want to support small business. That's very clear when we have those conversations. So that's an important important piece of the conversation in the state capitol is the small business community.
Yeah, for sure. Advocating on behalf of our small businesses is really the primary reason that we do spend the entire session in Carson City. You do anyway, and two members of our government affairs team. Why is it so important that you and the two other members of the team stay up in Carson City throughout the entire session?
Absolutely. And I think, for those that may not be aware, the Chamber is the largest business association in the state. As I mentioned, we have the 70 sectors. So when we're going through all the bills, the Chamber does maintain the largest bill portfolio of any business association. We're tracking about 820 bills and BDRs out of 1,100. So it's about 81% of all bills will be reviewed by the Chamber and tracked one way or another. And we have to ensure that it doesn't matter if it's a retail store, if it's a hospitality business, if it's a healthcare, we want to make sure every single member is protected, but also advocate for in the building. So that's why we have the team up here, like you mentioned. The Chamber has the largest Chamber team in Carson City. We have three of us in-house. We have our contract team, Black and Wadhams, because the portfolio is so large. Hearings are going every hour, pretty much as you know, Mary Beth. And so we're constantly in and out of negotiations already in week 2, in week 3 and 4, as the session goes on. So there's a lot of nuances going on in the building. So that can only be accomplished really by having a large team up here representing our members.
Yeah, that's true, and we have to. There's a lot of work to be done up there, so it takes a lot of us to be in Carson City. But so you've only been there, a few days now. But what are some of the key issues that you're already seeing emerging up there?
Absolutely. And I think every session is a little different, right? But then every session, there's always connected by certain themes. Every session, there's always going to be major education policies. I think last session in 2023, you saw a lot more focus on higher education. This time, you're going to see a lot more in K through 12. And you're going to see a lot of bills, conversations really focusing on governance, accountability, spending with the local school districts. You'll see a bill more than likely from the Senate Majority Leader. We know the governor's laid out a vision to state of the state. There's education bills from the Southern Nevada Forum. And so you're going to see a lot of bills about governance, teacher pipeline we're anticipating. Student achievement's always going to be part of those conversations. Read by 3, there's a bill that's being introduced to talk about that. So, I mean, it's always going to be education, right? There's also going to be a lot of healthcare bills this session. We know that. Then you're also going to have, of course, affordable housing, attainable housing. That has really increased the last several sessions about what is the right policy, how do you address those concerns in Northern Nevada, Southern Nevada, rural Nevada. So you'll have that as well. Artificial intelligence, AI, will be a relatively newer topic in the bill in the session. You'll see a couple of bills being introduced on that, and that could go anywhere from regulations to prohibiting it to how do you regulate it, how do you integrate it into the society. So you'll see a spectrum of those bills. There's always going to be bills on economic development and what does that look like. There's going to be election bills. There's going to be some social justice bills. But the chamber portfolio is pretty much what we're expecting as it deals to our business community. No big surprises yet, but the session is young, so we'll see.
For sure. Is there anything looming out there that our small business members need to be aware of and tune into the Paul call to listen to updates on what they may need to watch out for?
Sure. No, I think one of the topics we are seeing emerging is workers' comp. Workers' compensation doesn't matter if you're a small or large business. You have to follow the rules. You have to make sure you have workers' comp policies. So we do anticipate to be 3 or 4 major bills that come through. There's been some court decisions that have triggered those conversations. And as those bills come through, like you said, members can join onto the Paul call, and that's the first and third Thursday of every month. We have the Carson City call on the first Tuesdays. And of course, the rundown, which is the Chamber's legislative recap every Friday afternoon. So workers' comp is going to be up there. Again, we know folks, they're running their business and so forth, but it's an issue that doesn't matter the size of your business, you should be tracking.
All right, sounds good. Well, Paul, we're going to take a quick break. Can you stay with us a few more minutes?
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to take that break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about a new thought piece that the chamber released called Why Accountability Matters. We'll tell you about that when we come back. By July of 2025, nearly all Nevada employers will be required to offer a retirement plan to all employees. As a business, how do you even start? Just call the Vegas Chamber to get plugged into the Chamber's 401k plan. It's simple to administer, provides great options, and will quickly help your business meet Nevada's new retirement plan mandate. Visit vegaschamber.com to get plugged in. Welcome to Washington, D.C., the heartbeat of our nation. This year, the Vegas Chamber's Washington, D.C. fly-in brought a record-breaking more than 300 Nevadans to our nation's capital, all getting plugged in to amplify Nevada's voice like never before. Over the past week, we've plugged into every core of our nation's decision-making, not just witnessing, but actively shaping the future for our beloved state. We've tackled the issues that matter most to our businesses and communities back home. Our strengthened bond with the Nevada delegation ensures that our priorities echo through the halls of Congress. We've forged new friendships and created lasting memories. Being here, united with one collective voice, we've ensured that the pulse and priorities of Nevada are not just heard, but felt in Washington, D.C. Thank you for being part of this monumental journey. Together, we're not just taking care of business, we're elevating Nevada's future.
Welcome to JobX, your one-stop platform to unlock career opportunities in Southern Nevada. Whether you're exploring your potential or ready to leap into an in-demand career, JobX is here to help you take that first step. Now is the perfect time to explore your future career through JobX. JobX connects you to a personalized skills assessment, local in-demand careers, and training and educational opportunities near you.
Not sure what career is right for you? Take the skills matching quiz and find your fit.
You'll answer questions designed to help uncover your interests and discover how they align with high-demand careers across Nevada. When exploring new careers, JobX gives you everything you need, including skills required, salary expectations, training options, and current opportunities, all at your fingertips. Ready to get started?
Visit jobx.vegas today and make your next career move.
Welcome back to this edition of Taking Care of Business. I'm Mary Beth Sewald. We're going to continue our conversation now with the Vegas Chamber Senior Vice President of Government Affairs, Mr. Paul Moradkhan. At the start of the session, we released a thought piece that we entitled Why Accountability Matters. Tell us a little bit about accountability, why we chose that, and why it matters to not only chamber members, but all Nevadans.
Of course, for our members who have been with us for a long time, the chamber every session releases a opening thought piece to your point, Mary Beth. And this session is entitled Why Accountability Matters, like you mentioned. And it's really a large perspective of the chamber's legislative priorities. And it's broken into 5 sections. It talks about job creation, employers, talks about education and student achievement, state regulatory and litigation environment, public resources and taxpayer policy, and of course, accountability in our future. The reason Chamber picked this piece is that as we take a step back and as the state continues to grow, we have to ensure that Nevada taxpayer dollars are being invested in the best return of investment for our employers, our employees, and Nevada families. So that was the perspective the Government Affairs Committee for the Chamber chose, and that's what you're going to be seeing driving the overall messaging, bill positions this session for the Chamber.
Okay. We talked about some of the policies that might be coming up that we need to look out for, but I know there are several key policy issues that would be great for our community if they get passed. What are some of those and why are they important to really what would be a great quality of life here?
Absolutely. And I think, for the chamber perspective, when we look at that about the quality of life, I think that's where the Southern Nevada Forum really plays into. As you know, Mary Beth, the Southern Nevada Forum is a joint project by the Chamber and the City of Las Vegas in collaborations with Brookings Mountain West at UNLV. And that's where a lot of the conversations come forward in the interim period for the session about what do we need to get done to move the community forward. Mary Beth, as you know, and our members know, that's where the UNLV Medical School support came from. Legion Stadium did, GME funding. A lot of those key milestone bills have been generated by community support and interest. In this upcoming session, we have several other bills that are also related to that. And some of those, of course, include additional funding on graduate medical education, which we call GME. We know the more GME dollars you have, the more likelihood you're going to keep doctors who are in residency in your community. So we send them to University of Nevada, Reno, or University of Nevada, Las Vegas medical schools, and they have GME funding for residencies in our communities. Doctors are more likely inclined to stay in the community where they did the residency program. So we think it's a smart investment in dollars, and that's something the Chamber will continue to advocate for this upcoming session. There's also going to be bills on education reform efforts. The Chamber and Southern Nevada Forum and other stakeholders are supporting reforms to the school board locally here in Clark County. And that bill will focus on moving the appointed elected officials to have voting rights this session. There'll be bills on dual enrollment for student success and achievement, streamlining and improving our federal grant process for dollars for the state. There's also going to be more healthcare bills addressed that include mental health care access in the Assembly and healthcare worker shortage and pipeline development also being dealt with in the State Assembly. So a lot of bills on that piece. Of course, it wouldn't be a session with economic development and funding for supporting funding for the Go Win Fund out of GoEd. There's also, of course, Mary Beth, as you know, conversation regarding a potential film tax studio project and film credits for that. That will be later on in the session when bills are out. So a lot of great bills folks are talking about. So session is not always about bad bills. It's also about good bills, of course, that the community needs. And we look forward to advocating for those bills on behalf of our membership.
Okay, sounds good. I know you mentioned K through 12 education reform, I think a minute ago or so. What are some of the reform initiatives that you're seeing and why does the chamber care so much about K through 12 education? I know partly because it really is a key component of our workforce, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think at that point, when we step back and talk about what issues do people care about the most, it's education because it's so personal to them, right? Everybody's gone to school. Everybody if you have a kid, of course, they're in school. Everybody can relate to going through an educational experience on that piece of it. For the chamber, our members are typically one of the largest end result users of the system. So our members are hiring students that graduate from the school district, or they're going on to college that sets their educational foundation when they graduate from college. So we want students to either be career ready when they graduate from high school or college ready Those are important aspects. We want to make sure they have the skill sets they need to be successful in their careers. And the chamber has been involved with education policy for decades, so it's not a new thing for this organization to be involved with. It goes back decades in terms of the spending, because the business community in Nevada pays a significant part of the taxes that fund education in the state. So when we're talking about accountability, our members want their tax dollars to go to a system that's going to support student achievement, that supports the next generation of employees and workers so they can do well.
All right, Paul, that about does it for our time, but thank you so much for joining us today on the program. We really appreciate your insights regarding the 2025 legislative session and the role, of course, that the chamber plays on behalf of Nevada employers. So thank you so much for all you do, and thanks for spending so much time up there.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mary Beth, for the opportunity today.
All right, what's ahead for our economy and region? When we come back, we'll share highlights from the Vegas Chamber's Preview Las Vegas.
Cox has been a valuable supporter of this community for more than 25 years. We're here for you, your home, your business, your life. With Cox, you can do more of what you love every day. From Allegiant Stadium to your home, when the game is on the line, Cox Fiber helps everyone enjoy a winning experience. Extraordinary speed, exceptional reliability. You can count on Cox to keep you connected. And now with Cox Mobile, you can take that excellence on the go. We're here for your business too. With the technology you need to take on whatever's next, our reliable network has been critical to the growth plan of businesses from coast to coast. At Cox Business, helping you succeed is what drives us. We're proud to help businesses everywhere reach their customers and their goals. Our Cox Media team strives to be the full-service advertising partner you've always wanted. With over 30 years of media and advertising expertise, Cox Media can be the team behind your marketing success, so you can get back to doing more of what you love every day, bringing the world to your door, or your door to the world, and all at the speed of light.
Las Vegas needs businesses that are growing the economy, creating jobs, and investing in the future. The Vegas Chamber helps new, small, and large businesses reach their financial and civic goals. The Vegas Chamber connects companies with each other to expand their business relationships. We stand up for employers, provide access to lawmakers, and actively push for economic growth and expansion. And we supply needed products like health insurance and a 401k program. Simply put, the Vegas Chamber gets you plugged in. We are your partner and advocate in this ever-changing business environment. We thank you for your support and trust. Learn more on how you can get plugged in at vegaschamber.com.
Welcome to Preview Mania. And the Las Vegas Chamber team have once again put together a powerhouse program for you today. Prepare to be engaged and entertained. Thank you for allowing Cox to be your trusted service provider as we work together to ensure a prosperous and thriving economy in Southern Nevada. Cox and the Vegas Chamber are partners in so many other programs to help Nevada employers and small businesses. I'm excited to serve as the chairwoman of the Chamber this year as we deliver even more value to our members. This is the year of small business.
Preview Las Vegas has always been a place where our business community comes together to hear from thought leaders. We hear from experts about the future. We hear about opportunities that we can capitalize on. We hear about threats that we need to navigate. And we also hear about challenges that we need to overcome. And there's no shortage of those challenges. But you know, at the Vegas Chamber, we have a track record, and this event has a track record because this event is one of the places where the Vegas Chamber has issued calls to action to build on the assets that we already have, but build on those that we need to diversify and grow even more.
Up next, we're going to highlight our platinum sponsor, NV Energy.
We are in a period of investment at NV Energy. We're advancing projects on your behalf to ensure you have the power you need for the years and decades to come. What are these investments? They're renewable, including more than 1,000 new megawatts of solar energy and 1,000 new megawatts of battery storage, recently approved by our regulators. Our approach also includes traditional natural gas power generation. Strategic locations around the state will house that to make sure we have the power ready when the sun isn't shining. And while we need these new resources to make sure you have the power you need to live, work, and play, we also need to be able to move that energy around the state.
Strikes me as remarkable that if we go back to 1905, when 1,500 people showed up in downtown Las Vegas to buy 1,200 acres that would ultimately become Las Vegas, I wonder if any of them would ever imagine that it would become what it is today. I imagine when those very first casinos were built on what was nothing more than a dirt road next to a dude ranch, that they would imagine that we would turn those into the most phenomenal hotel casinos on planet Earth.
Look, Las Vegas was the perfect place for Sphere to be launched. And from the moment the announcement was made, the Las Vegas market embraced us, embraced the idea of Sphere. Las Vegas is a global destination for sports, for business, for entertainment, for corporate events, for conventions. And Sphere is something that participates proudly. For some people, Sphere is the greatest live music venue in the world. For other people, it's about the epic cinematic experiences that take place, marquee events that happen both on the outside and within Sphere, and also corporate days. So we really do deliver to every genre of entertainment and communication and business that Las Vegas is attracting events and visitors in for.
You know, Nevada has been in a nonstop growth rate for several decades now, and so, you know, we're always going to be looking at education, we're always going to be looking at healthcare and now housing. And so I think the governor did a really good job of hitting on all of those issues, but did so in a way that was inclusive, not just his own administration, but the legislature as well, and try and bring everybody together to talk about three pressing issues that maybe we disagree on how we get to an end game, but I think everybody can agree those are three critical issues that we need to address in this upcoming legislature.
Obviously, we're excited about the interest in healthcare, right? Because we see that as a mechanism for economic development here, right? So I was very excited to hear about the GME, right? Doubling the GME. This is the key part of the healthcare puzzle we need to fix to get our doctors who train here to stay here. So they need the residencies. We've been tracking this since the UNLV, the Krikorian School of Medicine started. And each year we're having more and more placements and residencies in Nevada.
What about the leadership's agenda? How do you think that's going to be navigated? What are their goals from what you've heard, and how do you think that's going to be navigated since it's such a tight house?
The governor and leadership wants to work together to support more salary increases for our teachers by making it permanent and not every 2 years if it's going to come through or not. So I think that's one area of collaboration. I think also you're going to see collaboration on Southern Nevada Forum issues. Those are issues that we have worked with in this community. They're bipartisan nature on healthcare, for example, economic development, again, education. Those are common issues that Nevadans want to see addressed in Carson City. They're pragmatic, they're practical, And it doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent. You want the state to move forward. And I think you're going to see a lot of those underlying tones this upcoming session with those collaboration between the majority leader, the speaker, and the governor.
Whether we're coming together in times of crisis to support each other, or whether they're coming together in times of celebration, one of the biggest areas at the Raiders that we see our involvement in is in community engagement. Can I get a quick Raiders? All right, I love it.
It is going to be a great year in 2025 for Las Vegas. We're excited to bring WrestleMania here in April.
41 years ago, this will be WrestleMania 41 coming up. It's our Super Bowl. And for our Super Bowl, we thought there would be no better place to have it than Las Vegas. WWE has become a worldwide phenomenon. It's obviously a team effort. It's a position where I inherited a great product and where a group of us have strived very hard to build that even bigger. We launched one of our weekly properties, Monday Night Raw, 2 Mondays ago, January 6th on Netflix globally.
Las Vegas is a place you want to be. And now here we are, talking about what I think is going to be one of the most incredible events in the upcoming year in terms of WrestleMania. I don't think people really understand the juggernaut that this is. But you hope that if we think about what that looks like and how it adds to what we're doing today and how it adds to the other events that we have and it adds to the other things that we're going to do, there is no place like Las Vegas relative to our ability to drive value and make sure that everybody is getting the return on experience.
All right, as a member of the Vegas Chamber and the business community, you all in this room today, you all hold the keys to the shaping the future of the city of Las Vegas and arguably to the entire landscape of the state. So it is my goal to make sure that you leave Preview today, that you are equipped with connections when you leave, that you're equipped with knowledge and the tools you need to thrive in 2025.